it's a great start for FSU. Yes, I think everybody's looking ahead early to that Miami matchup, but still a big-time test for them on the road for the first time this season for Mike Norvell.
Yeah, there's no doubt. We'll get to the Virginia game, Logan, in one moment. I mean, the last two games were what they were, right? East Texas A&M and Kent State, but Florida State did what they were supposed to do and absolutely destroyed both opponents. Did we learn anything about the Seminoles in the last 2 weeks, or are we going to learn more about them on Friday night?
I think we've learned that this team with coaching has done a good job of development. So with Adam Fuller no longer being Florida State's defensive coordinator, and then Alex Atkins, who is your practical co-offensive coordinator, things just felt out of bunch. You look at the offensive line as well. You're seeing development from your 2 deep and 3 deep. That's the things that you take away when you look at smaller opponents, lesser talent. You want to see who the guys are behind your starters and just if anything happens, it's football. You're going to have injuries. We've seen a lot of guys who come in not look like it's a crazy experience for them. They come in, they play, they're doing their assignments well, they're playing with physicality. Some of them are pressing a lot more than anything that we had ever heard of during fall camp or spring. So a lot of good surprises across the board, I'd say, from these both games. And also, too, putting up a lot of points as well. Florida State, as we all know, struggled immensely offensively all across the board. They couldn't get anything going with your wide receiver room. Definitely in the run game, we're seeing Gus Malzahn find that success, and he had that success against Alabama in week 1. But now you're on the road, and that's the thing that gets a little tricky of just understanding, hey, you're going to be in a more hostile environment Friday night, and you're going to go through some adversity in that game. How do you respond? But so far, I've been pretty pleased just seeing what they've been able to do with these lesser opponents and the guys in the 2 and the 3 deep.
Logan Robinson, the owner and the founder of Nole Game Day, with us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Logan, Tommy Castellanos has been outstanding. I know he got beat up a little bit against Kent State. I know there was some issue with the ankle. It appears minor. Is that your understanding as well?
Yes, so we spoke with Mike Norvell yesterday. He did say that Tommy is at a day-to-day. He feels optimistic that Tommy is going to be available to play on Friday night for Florida State. Now, with the new ACC injury updates, those will be posted, I'm expecting, tomorrow at the latest. We might get some today, but with the new ACC rules and conference play, both teams have to give injury updates at least 48 hours beginning then before game day. So we'll get a little bit of a better evaluation. I wouldn't be shocked, though, if you do see Tommy Castellanos listed on there. Now, next to it, though, it's not like the NFL where they put down, okay, did he participate in practice or what is he dealing with, ankle, leg, whatever that is. So it's not, I would say, as much detailed on the NFL side, but I wouldn't be shocked to see Tommy's name out there. But I personally think on Friday you'll see Tommy play. I actually saw after the game, he was on Instagram Live with a few of the players in the locker room. He told everybody that he was fine. He's good to go. And we also saw him celebrating with the team, dancing around on the sideline against Kent State. So I think there's some positive signs that he'll be out there Friday night.
Logan, it's Virginia on Friday up in Charlottesville. The one thing I know about Virginia is they score, and they score a lot of points. Now, they haven't had the best competition. They are 3-1 through 4 weeks, but how much of a challenge will this be for Florida State?
Well, like you just said, they do like to put up some points, and that's something that Florida State is going to have to do a good job of with Tony White's defense. They've got to find a way to get to the quarterback. They've got to play assignment football as well. And, you look at, what Florida State is actually bringing into this game. Someone that I'm very excited for that it will make his debut, I'm expecting, is Kevin Wynn, who is your true freshman, your top recruit in this last year's class, defensive tackle. He came in big size during the spring, a little too big. Coach Storms, which is Florida State strength and conditioning coach, trimmed him down a good bit, but he's an absolute animal and monster with physicality on the inside. And I think this team, at least the defensive line interior-wise, is going to get a step I was going to say an upgrade overall, because you can match that over on the other side in tandem with Darrell Jackson and I think Terrence Knighton. Florida State's new defensive lines coach is kind of just ready for this debut of a young man that I've heard a lot of good things about. So Florida State adding in on the defensive side as well, and Florida State's going to have to make sure that they limit the amount of points that Virginia is going to put up on Friday evening.
The Seminoles, Logan, were awful on the road last year. In fact, I don't think they won a road game, if memory serves. I mean, they were really, really bad. It's going to be interesting. It's their first road test of the year. It's a Friday night, kind of a quirky game. A lot of people will be watching. It's going to be the only college game on. I mean, what is the thought about Florida State hitting the road for the first time this year?
Well, I'll tell you what, when you saw where Florida State had a program record, 8 touchdowns on the ground, and how many yards they also had on the ground, make things simple for yourself. That's exactly what I think Gus Malzahn and the rest of this offense and Mike Norvell, that's going to be the game plan for this. Don't need to do anything crazy here. Establish the run. Do what you did against Alabama and show that you're ready to play with more physicality, more tenacity, and also communicate very well on the defensive side, and things should go smoothly for you. I think Tommy Castellanos, the last 2 games, they were testing a lot of things, going deep, trying to build chemistry with his arm, with some of his wide receivers, including a young star in the making with Mekhi Danzy, who is a track star, and we saw him make a highlight grab, also a touchdown as well this last week, and he also did the same thing against Alabama. So they're trying to build a lot of chemistry for Tommy Castellanos with his wide receivers, and Deuce Robinson as well, who had a big game as well in the second game of the season. So there's a lot to like about how Florida State can establish this offensive rhythm and continue that. It might just be more on the hands of what we look at the defensive side with Tony White.
Final moments, Logan Robinson, the owner and the founder of Nole Game Day. All right, Miami next week. That is going to be a huge battle, 7:30 Saturday night. Miami's off this week. Florida State is not. Concern about a look-ahead factor for Florida State with Miami lurking?
Well, it's hard not to have that in the back of your head, because if you go through recruiting and high school, these guys, a lot of them have played with one another. So they're already probably exchanging texts. Of course, fans have been looking forward to this for a while. Miami fans have nothing else to do. So they're of course already in that game week feeling going into this game. We're probably going to get, college game day. You've got Lee Corso coming in town for a return. So there's already a lot of chatter and hoopla going on. So it's going to come down to Mike Norvell and the way that he sets the line of, hey, this is a massive game for Florida State. Like you were mentioning earlier, this is their first road game. Don't get too mentally caught up and everything looking ahead and such. And I think that's where Mike Norvell, one big pro of his is that he's a really good communicator. He tries to deal well with his players, hands-on as well. But now the factor of Gus Malzahn taking over the reins as a play caller and your offensive coordinator, Mike is able to do a lot more things and make sure to set that standard of where they're at mentally going into week by week. And I'm pretty sure that message has been sent in a stern way that you got to keep your head on looking forward straight at Virginia, because it's a short week. You got to quickly recover, get back, and then this team is going to be traveling here in about 48 hours to Virginia. So I think for the most part it will be a lot of we'll have to just see. That's the thing. Is Florida State over kind of what they were last year on the road, or is this a new team? And so far I think they're showing that to us.
Logan, final question. We got about 90 seconds. You look at that schedule, and you and I talked about it in the preseason. It was the 4 big games, right? It was Alabama, Miami, Clemson, and Florida. Well, Florida is awful, and Clemson might be the most disappointing team in America. Not to get too far ahead of the story here, but if you take care of business against Virginia, you take care of business against Miami, Florida State's probably going to be favorite everywhere else on that schedule heading down the stretch here.
Yeah, they are. Clemson, like you were mentioning, it's complete, utter, just disappointment, like you're saying. Dabo Swinney, he talks so highly about that team coming into the year, and Kate Klubnik can't get anything going. There's no wide receiver play as well, which you always think of Clemson having absolute monsters there on the outside, and Clemson has fallen off. Then you see over there with what's going on with DJ Lagway and Billy Napier and them having no offense as well. It really is coming down to what is, as we're looking ahead as we speak to that Miami matchup, And moving forward, Florida State does go on the road, though, and to a hostile environment up there in Clemson. And Dabo Swinney always plays the Noles very well. So that one's just not a cupcake game for you for the Seminoles. But, Florida State, it is now shaping up to be where they have a strong chance of, vying and competing for an ACC championship. I wouldn't be shocked if you see a rematch in Charlotte between Florida State and the Miami Hurricanes, and I'll be very interested to see. I mean, you might not even see just 2 matchups between those 2 rivals. You could see 3 potentially if they see each other in the college football playoffs.
Rick Ballou here. Thank you so much for watching 1010XL Seminoles on YouTube. Before you click away, please like and subscribe to this channel. Be sure to check out other team-specific channels on 1010XL Network and YouTube.